continues, so do the NBA players.
Where it's not exactly going well for Boston.
Got downhill, couldn't punch it. Bam says, get it out of here.
You get on that big stage, you just got to make big plays. That's all it is. He made a good play. Just get ready for game 2.
Kemba Walker doing a little bit of everything. The Celtics looking sharp here in the first half. The Miami Heat have regained the lead after trailing by 17. Dragic a three-pointer. Bang! Tatum goes in a corner. Won't go. The tip misses. The Miami Heat take a 2-0 lead here in this best-of-7 conference final.
Good morning now to our Kendrick Perkins. Look, I just said this minutes ago, but the most dangerous lead in all of sports at this moment is any lead that the Celtics have. They blew a 17-point lead against the Heat, and now they're in that 0-2 hole. So based on what you've seen so far, how much faith do you have in Boston's ability to actually turn this into a series?
Well, it's not over, but I have very little faith. Right now, you're looking at a Boston Celtics team that were number one defensively throughout this whole playoffs, and right now they have lost their defensive identity. Those guys cannot guard a parked car right now. Miami Heat are dissecting them every which way on the defensive end. They're cutting. Bam is getting wide open dunks. I thought he was Shaq yesterday. And on the offensive end, they're playing individually. They're not playing team-wise. The Celtics are playing my turn basketball. Okay, Kemba, here go your turn. Do your step backs and your crossovers. Okay, I haven't touched the ball. Next is Jason Tatum. Sidestep 3-point shots. You cannot beat the Miami Heat playing individual basketball on the offensive end. And the Miami Heat has been, in game 1, they had 32 assists. Last night they had 28 assists, and they have been dominating the Celtics in the paint.
And the Celtics, keep in mind, they had a 2-0 series lead over the Raptors, and the Raptors still took them to 7 games in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is tonight. It's the Lakers and the Nuggets, and you could say that Denver has the momentum because they overcame 2 3-1 series, deficits in their previous 2 series. So what's it going to be tonight for the Lakers? What's the key for them to jump out to a good start?
Well, they just got to be who they are, and that's the championship-bred team that they are right now. They have the most championship experience in the league, and it's showing. The way that they did the Houston Rockets, I have no concern about the Los Angeles Lakers. The Denver Nuggets haven't faced a team like this, especially with LeBron James being the best player in the world and Anthony Davis being the top 5 player in the world, the best power forward. And let's not talk about playoff Rondo. He has turned it up another notch. And Alex Caruso, I said this before, he is the heart and soul of that team. Danny Green is finding his stride and finding his rhythm on the offensive end. So is Caldwell Pope. Kyle Kuzma are doing things that we haven't seen him do all year on the defensive end and bringing that energy. So the Lakers just have to be themselves. Dwight Howard is probably going to start, and they're probably going to go big to match up with Jokic. And with him and Anthony Davis in that front court, they're the best front court defensive team, front court defensive duo in the NBA.
Just want to say, they need to be themselves, yet the Lakers have yet to open a series with a win this postseason. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is tonight at 9. All that is gone.
All right, first 2 games of a career, first 2 games of a series here. Game 2, the Heat and the Celtics Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go to the bubble where, Miami was heating up. They trailed by 13 points at halftime, but Jimmy Butler said, we like being down double digits and being comeback kids. Well, it helps when you have Tyler Hero leaving it for Bam Adebayo there. That's a man in Hero who was born in the year 2000, serving it up to a guy in Adebayo who was born in the year 1997.
Thanks, I feel old.
Well, we both should. Let me correct that. We both should. Heat still down 1 a minute later, and it's Adebayo. He had 15 points in the 3rd quarter, nearly outscoring the Celtics, who had just 17 as a team. The Heat were plus 20 in the quarter. They take a 1-point lead. Under 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, Duncan Robinson, a triple. He had 18 points. Heat up 1. Let's go to the 4th. We're tied at 89. Jason Tatum went for 21 points and 5 rebounds and doing what he couldn't do at the end of game 1. Dunking, throwing down, actually completing it. Butler then going to steal it from Kemba Walker. Kemba had 23 points, just none on this particular play. Celtics had 26 turnovers. That was the issue. Is at the other end, it's Jimmy Butler finishing. 26 turnovers for the C's, leading to 20 points for the Miami Heat. Butler to Goran Dragic. Dragic would lead all Heat scores. He had 25 points to go with 5 helpers. Marcus Smart's inbound is stolen. Butler had 4 steals, 3 of them coming in crunch time. They're leaving it for Crowder, the former Celtic, and the Heat go all the way up 7. They were down 17. Now they're up 7. Smart finding Jaylen Brown outside for the triple. He had 21. The Celtics had never lost a game when Tatum, Kemba, and Brown had 20 points or more individually in the same game. But the rebounding was big down the stretch for Miami. The defense was big. Miami giving Boston one last chance, down 3 off of that turnover. Who's going to take this final shot? You can't go to the rim like Tatum tried to do at game 1. It's got to be a triple. No dice from Jaylen Brown. Adebayo the rebound. That's it. 106-101. Miami now up 2 games to none. Here's Adebayo on what Miami has that made it possible.
We got grit, man. You know, I'm happy to be on this team with these guys because, you know, everybody in here has a different story, but we all come from nothing. And that's what's beautiful about this team, man. You put guys that came from nothing together and they have a vision.
We believe in one another. We know what we're capable of. And I think that's the part that's so fun when we're out there hooping. Yeah, we get down at times, but we never hang our heads because we know if we play the right way, we give ourselves a chance to win. So with these group of guys, man, it's always smiles out there on the court.
Here's how well the Miami zone worked in the third quarter. Miami outscoring Boston by 20 in that frame alone, scoring 16 points off of turnovers after only scoring 10 off of turnovers through the other 3 quarters. So frustrating for the Celtics. They kept fighting after the game. Malika Andrews has more on that from the bubble.
It's no secret that their Game 2 loss was frustrating and emotional for the Boston Celtics. After all, they were up by double digits at halftime.
We 0-2. We frustrated, but that's team sports. You're not supposed to be happy we down 0-2, but nothing out the ordinary. Just talking about the game. It's cool. Gotta get ready for the next one.
A lot of emotions was flying around. Obviously, we feel like we could have won, should have won, and we didn't. So just a lot of emotions flying around. That's it.
That frustration carried over into the locker room after the game. I was standing probably 25 feet from the mouth of the locker room when I started to hear yelling and screaming, and it sounded like a chair or something heavy was being thrown at the wall. And then I saw Marcus Smart leave the locker room, head towards the restroom, and he was still yelling back and swearing. And I want to be clear, Marcus wasn't necessarily the only one yelling. I still heard voices coming out of the locker room. He is just the only one I saw. And then afterwards, I asked Brad Stevens what he made of that whole incident, and he just chalked it up to it being a hard loss, and guys were just a little bit emotional. And Jaylen Brown echoed that, saying, at the end of the day, we are family. And Marcus Smart is fiery on the court. Sometimes he's fiery off the court, and they are just hoping that that fire can scorch the Heat in Game 3.
Malika, thank you. No team employed the zone defense more this season than the Miami Heat, and the Celtics have struggled against that Heat zone all season, scoring nearly 20% fewer points per possession than they do against a man defense. In Game 2, Celtics made just 5 field goals and committed 5 turnovers in 25 plays against the Heat's zone defense in the second. Offensive balance on Thursday night from Cleveland. Mayfield was 16-23 passing, 219 yards and 2 scores. The ground game put up 215 yards on 35 carries and 3 touchdowns. Cleveland gets its first win of the season, 35-30. Super Bowl 43 champion Ryan Clark joins us now on SportsCenter. And Ryan, it seemed like everything that didn't work for the Browns offensively in the opener worked Thursday night, 35 points. What did you see from their offense that made them so successful?
What's crazy, Randy, it wasn't everything that didn't work. It was that they actually tried something different. Kevin Stefanski was brought here to bring the run game and the boot play-action game like we've seen from the Shanahans and Kubiak. And that's what he did last night, and it worked right away. He got Baker Mayfield out of the pocket, was able to get him some easy throws early, and we saw some of that accuracy and that intent that we're used to seeing with Baker Mayfield from college and in his first year. Even the deep pass to Odell Beckham Jr., and he stuck with the run. This team is going to start and end with the production of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and move into the play-action pass game. That's what we saw from Cleveland and Kevin Stefanski, and it was very successful last night.
Okay, so Baker and the Browns get the win, but there's still plenty to love from Joe Burrow here, showing a lot of promise in that loss for Cincinnati. Here's the final touchdown of his night. With less than a minute to play, it's a nice toe tap from Tyler Boyd here. Burrow throwing 61 passes on the night, set an NFL rookie record. He had 37 completions However, he was under duress throughout the night. He's now been hit 22 times in the first 2 games of his career. And we were kind of laughing about it, following you on social media and Marcus Spears on social media, and these LSU guys who ride for Joe Burrow, who are like, we must protect the franchise. So how do you balance your excitement, Ryan, for Burrow's potential, right? And we see it, with the desire to see him protected this early in his career?
I mean, it's tough, man. It's like being a parent of a child prodigy and wanting that child to get an opportunity to excel and learn, but being scared that he's going to be in school with older people. It's very difficult if you're Zach Taylor, especially if you're trying to win football games. We know that Joe Burrow is tough. We know that he's going to try to extend plays and win games, but the coach has to protect him, get him out of the pocket, coach him to get the ball out of his hands early and give up on some plays sometimes, because Cincinnati's probably not going to win a lot anyway. You don't want to see the Derek Carr. You don't want to see the Andrew Lucks, guys who are so tough playing behind bad lines, who get beat up early on in their career, and it affects them late. Joe Burrow is a great player. Joe Burrow is a tough young man, but he has to be protected by the Cincinnati Bengals organization and their head coach.
I like that. Ryan had a tweet. He said, can we redshirt Burrow for a year until Cincinnati gets a better offensive line? Child prodigy like Doogie Howser, QB.
He's like, that's my baby.
Doogie Howser.